Welcome. In this Callcabinet how-to video, I will explain the predefined user roles available to you when creating a new Callcabinet user. Let us begin. In order to understand the various permissions given to the predefined user roles Callcabinet provides, click on the Settings in the menu panel, then go to Custom User Roles. And once the Custom User Roles screen has rendered in the Details panel, you will notice that there are 6 predefined role names listed under the Role Name column. These are Restricted User, Support User, Restricted Admin, Standard User, Admin, and Super Admin. You will notice that next to each one of these names there is a lock, which means that none of these roles may be edited. By clicking on each one of these role names, you will notice that on the right hand side in the Details panel, all permissions available will be listed, and those permissions that have their checkbox enabled are the permissions that have been assigned to the role that you are currently viewing. In order to view all the permissions, all you need do is go to the scroll bar on the right hand side of the Details panel and scroll down, and you will see all the permissions that are available in Callcabinet. You will notice that some of these permissions have a colored bubble next to their name. These colored bubbles represent a particular license that is required to be granted to a user in order for that permission to be activated. The blue bubble represents a Quality Assurance Supervisor license. The green bubble represents a Quality Assurance Analyst license, and the grey bubble a Quality Assurance Admin license, and finally the purple bubble the Advanced User license. This implies that even though a permission has a tick in its associated checkbox, if it has one or more of these colored bubbles next to its name, then any one of those licenses represented is required to be allocated to the user in order for that particular permission to become activated. The listed order inside the role column of these roles indicates the level of user access. In other words, a support user has the lowest level of access as it has less permissions enabled than the standard user, who has more permissions allocated. However, a standard user has lower access than an admin, who in turn has less permissions than a super admin. Super admin is the role with the highest number of permissions and access rights. It is important to know which role has which permissions enabled, and therefore the level of access to Callcabinet when creating a new user and assigning them a role. Now that you understand the various roles, let us go ahead and create a user and assign this user one of these roles we have just been looking at. In the menu panel, click on Settings and then on User Management. Once the user details screen has been rendered in the Details panel, click on the Add New User button. An Add dialog appears. Enter in the email address of the new user, and then under the user role, go and select the role that you would like to assign this user. I'm going to assign this user the support user role. Under the license, if there are any licenses, I can assign the license should I have been allocated one. Then I'm going to type in the first name, and if we need to, we can type in a phone number. We can leave the date format to use the company settings, or you can change it. If required, you can go and make some notes, and you can actually add single sign-on if required, or multi-factor authentication and select the option. Once you have done this, go and press the Save button. You will now notice that the new user has been added and is now visible under the User Management table. After you have created the user, The user will receive an email from noreply@callcabinet.com in which there will be a link the user must click on to activate their account. Let's go and have a look at this email that they will have received. When the newly created user receives their email and opens up the email from noreply@callcabinet.com, this is the message that they would receive, or one very similar to it. In order for them to be able to log in, they would use their email address as well as the one-time password that has been provided. What you would do is you'll click on this password, copy the password, and then click on the Click Here link to go to your Callcabinet account. When you go to your Callcabinet account, you would type in your email address, enter in the password that has been provided, and then log in. The very first time you log in, you are going to have to enter in your new password. And you can enter in the new password to whatever suits your needs. Once you have entered in all your information, save your settings, and then you can log in. This concludes how to create a custom user role in Callcabinet. For more information about Callcabinet's predefined roles, please refer to Callcabinet's predefined user roles how-to video. Also, for more insight into Callcabinet's restricted user and restricted admin roles, please refer to Callcabinet's how-to video on restricted user roles. See you in the next video.